on here and uncomment that, and I'll show you guys what this function entails. Okay. So this might look a little complicated, but it's really pretty straightforward. So the way we capture user input is using event maps. So you can create a new event map called eventmap.new. And then once you have that map, you can tell it to record certain events. For example, when you use the scroll wheel, or when you press the right mouse down, or when you press the left key, the right key, etc. So once you've defined which event, you can define the function that will be called when that event happens. So for example, down here, the key down left. When the left mouse is clicked, you want to call the function camera.moveLeft by 0.1. You'll notice that the difference, there's key press, key release, and key down. Key press is fired once the key is pressed down, release once it's released, and key down fires every couple milliseconds continuously. Our camera class has a bunch of default functionality in it, so you can tell the camera to move left, move right, rotate. You can look at more detail at the camera class itself if you want to find more functions in it. In addition, the camera class is functioning off of a deeper level camera boom class. So if the camera class isn't doing exactly what you want, come talk to us and we'll explain about the camera boom, which gives you a lot more fine-grained control. So we've registered some events. We've created the new event map. Now what we need to do is push this event map onto the stack. So event handler.push will push this map onto the stack. Now the way the stack works is basically it's a stack of event maps, and if the top one receives an event, it'll fire that function. If it doesn't, it'll look at the next one, look at the next one. So this lets you do cool stuff, such as make the camera move the right mouse button, but when this menu's up, I want the right mouse button to do something else. And so you can just push that event map on and pop it off the stack, and that all functions nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and save this code and go back over here, refresh the page. And you can see we can now look around and move in this world. Any questions on that so far? Okay. Move on to the next thing. Next, we're going to create some objects. So I'm going to create a for loop and call a function spawn target. And this function will create the penguins that you saw before. Okay. So here in the spawn target function, the main function you'll be interested in is sceneManager.createObject. CreateObject takes a file name of the object you want to create, which can be found back here in the builder. It's these, so you can copy file names. Also, if you search the global library, you can always copy a file name from there too. This is the unique identifier for all of our resources. So you can create the object with the file name. You can also call functions such as set position on that. In this case, it's going to set position to a new vector of anywhere between -10 to 10 in the x and y direction and 20 units above the ground. And in addition, I'm going to stick a keyword on this right now. Call the keyword target so we know which it is. So we're going to hit save. Go back over here. You can see it creates one of the penguins. Real quick, I need to make a quick change here. So we changed the set keyword to add keywords function. Yep. There we go. So you can see it runs through the for loop and it spawns our penguins. You can move the camera around, everything's nice. Okay. So back up to the top. One other thing I want to do with the camera is set it to a better starting location. Now we have our penguins. The camera, you can call set eye and set focus. The way that works is that the eye is exactly where the camera is and the focus is what it's looking at. So in this case, you can set it to set the eye to x of 0, y of 10, z of 5. So if you hit that and refresh, you should be able to see it. The camera will start in a slightly different position, up a little bit higher above the penguins. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now we want to actually shoot these penguins, have something fun happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new event map. So I was saying before, all the event map captures input. So we're just going to create a brand new event map that captures the left mouse. And whenever the left mouse is clicked, it's going to call the function fire. So we're going to go down here, add the fire function. Okay. So similar to the spawn target function, you can see it's calling CManager create object with a file name. It's going to set the object's position to exactly where the camera's eye is. It's going to set some scale to it, and it's going to apply a force. All of our objects by default are enabled in physics, so you can apply forces to them. You can set velocities, get velocities, do all of that. The mouse.getRay will return a ray from the camera that points out towards your mouse, so this will make the paintballs move in the direction that you're clicking. We're going to set the color of the projectile as well to a nice random color. And we're also going to use the timer.later class. Timer.later is pretty simple. It schedules a function to be run at a later date. So in this case, it's going to run this function. It's going to delete the projectile after about 5 seconds. So this will clean stuff up. So we're going to hit save, go back in here. And now some penguins. And you can see we can shoot paintballs at them. You see, since we have physics enabled, it all works fine. So the next thing we're going to do is we want something to happen whenever the penguins actually get hit by a paintball. So we're going to set a collision handler. When you create the projectile, you can call a function setCollisionHandler and pass it a new function. This function right here takes 3 arguments. The self, which is the object that is doing the collision, what it's collided with, and what phase of the collision it's in. The phase is basically either start, middle, or end. The start phase is as soon as the collision starts to happen. The middle phase fires every frame that the collision is still happening, and the end will fire whenever the collision is done happening. So specifically, I want the end function for this one because I want the ball to have already hit and have already imparted a force on the object. If I wanted the paintball to hit and not move the object, I would use start here instead. So I'm going to check if the other thing it's colliding with has the keyword target, which we set before on all the penguins. And we're just going to set the other's color to whatever the paintball color is and get rid of the paintball. So I'm going to go back. And you can see you can now shoot paintballs and add colors to the objects. Oh. Okay. So the last thing I want to show in this example is basically how to write a main loop. So you can see that these penguins are kind of flying off into the distance, and that's less than desirable. So we're going to write a main loop that keeps these penguins closer. So what we can do is use a timer.every. Timer.every will call this function every 0 seconds, which is basically every single frame, 0 special cased. You can also have it call it every 1 second, every 5 seconds, however you like. So we're going to define this new function. There we go. So we have the function attract targets. And this is basically going to loop through every single object that has the keyword target and apply a force back towards the center of the world. So let's save. We'll go back here. So now if you hit the penguins enough, they'll go flying out, but they'll all eventually manage to come back towards the center. You can see them being pulled towards. So that's how you write a main loop in your game. And a lot of games use main loops for a variety of things. And that is about it for this penguin tutorial demo. Questions on any of this? Is there anything that seemed fuzzy? Okay. Yeah. I can't hear it. Yes, the WildPockets engine is all plugin based. So when you guys go use it first time, you'll download the plugin. It's a tiny couple meg, very tiny plugin, really fast. Mainly because all of the resources get streamed as they're needed. So every time you create a penguin, it goes to our server, it gets the penguin back, and it does the download when you need the penguin.